Hey guys, it's Kristen Little25 and I'm here with some tea today. I got an anonymous write-in DM. These are my notes from that DM. But first, if you haven't already, please subscribe, hit that notification bell, and like if you want. It would really help me out. Okay, so let's get into it. So since we're keeping it anonymous with this one, we are gonna name our write-in Maya? Yeah, we're gonna name her Maya. I grew up without the best role models, and because of this, she never really knew what a healthy relationship was or what it should have looked like. Her home life wasn't the best, so her home life was not great. She mentioned to me in her messages that her parents would argue a lot, like scream and yell at each other. It happened every day, but it wasn't like, that's not really a normal argument, but it wasn't like just arguing. Like, she said that she saw her mom repeatedly stab her dad with forks, put cigarettes out on him, and even held a gun to his head. Girl, that's traumatic. That is traumatic. That's not okay to grow up around. Eventually the fights became everyday life. Like, you just expected it. That's crazy. She says she becomes like desensitized to it. So basically, like, it didn't bother her. Like, her mom holding a gun to her dad's head was just another Thursday. So she met Josh when she was 17 and it was an instant connection. She states that it literally took her no time to fall head over heels in love. Now, of course, you're young. Like, things tend to move fast when you're young like that. So that's not very surprising. It literally took her no time at all to fall in love with Josh. Like, head over heels in love with this boy. So much so that 3 months after dating, she gets pregnant. And by 8 months, she was moving in with Josh and his parents. In April of 2016, she was giving birth to her beautiful daughter. They still lived with his parents and everything was perfect. He was a wonderful dad, a wonderful partner, never had a problem with abuse, never drank, didn't go out. He was just perfect all the way around. And then at 6 months, when their daughter turned 6 months, they moved out into their own apartment. And that's when things started to get a little crazy. Now, when I first moved into the apartment, she remembers thinking to herself, like, I found the love of my life at 18 years old. She tells me in her messages how she felt so lucky to have found that so fast and so easy, and for their lives to be starting at such an early age. But shortly after moving into their apartment, everything went downhill. He started drinking. He tried to have parties every night, had friends over at every hour of the day. He wasn't very, like, thoughtful, I guess, towards their daughter and, like, her sleep schedule or his girlfriend, Maya. Like, he wasn't at all thinking of them. He just wanted to party, basically. And his older friends were supplying him with alcohol. To me, that seems like he just obviously was not ready to grow up or move out of his parents' house. Of course, he was perfect when he was with his parents because his parents probably kept him in check and kept him in line. And now he's out on his own and he's making big boy decisions, but ain't got big boy mentality. So it makes sense to me. So Maya says in her DM to me that he was drunk 24/7. If he wasn't drunk, he was sleeping or hungover. And they're 18 at this point. Which, I mean, we were all young guys. Like, I remember, well, for legal reasons, I don't remember drinking when I was 18, but you know what I mean. But, like, still, you can party on the weekends and still be responsible through the week. Like, there's no reason to party Monday through Sunday, like, nonstop. Especially when you have a kid. Like, you have a young kid at the house. Like, what would make you think that was okay? I don't know. Maya would get upset whenever he drank. and for good reason. He was not only mentally and emotionally abusive, also verbally, but he was physically abusive as well. So, slam her against walls, punch her in the face. Maya says her self-worth was like non-existent at this time, but she somehow found the courage to leave. So during this time, she decided to move her stuff out. Now, knowing how DPOS is and what he could possibly do to her, she decided to just casually slip the apartment key off his keyring so he couldn't get into the house and destroy her things. DPOS found out she was moving out. I don't know if he wasn't staying there at the time. She doesn't really, but regardless, he finds out she's moving out. So he goes to the apartment, realizes he doesn't have a key, and then breaks in, guys. He breaks into the... So Maya pulls up, and she doesn't know how long he's been there, but she pulls up because she's slowly gathering her things to move out. So she's there to pick up more items. And Maya sees his truck, and immediately she's like, great. She goes up to the door and unlocks it because he broke in. I think he broke a window, she said. But she unlocks it and walks in, and none of her stuff is touched. None of it. It's left alone. But she walks a little further into the apartment, and all of her daughter's things are in a pile. And they're burnt. He set their daughter's stuff on fire. And she says to me in the messages that she doesn't understand why he would do it. I do. He knew setting your daughter's stuff on fire would hurt you more than setting your shit on fire. I really need to stop cussing. Okay, so what did he set on fire? He set all of her clothes on fire, all the toys on fire. He set her baby book on fire that had all of her legal documentation. So her birth certificate, her social security card, her first haircut was in there. All her photos from like the time she was born up until that moment had been in there. What? What an asshole. Maya sees this and immediately is heartbroken and enraged. Not only did she speak her mind in the moment, she also broke his nose and his jaw in the process. That's what I'm talking about, okay? The police show up, and I mean, what are they really gonna do? Because they let him slide for so long that, I mean, if they put charges on her, it would just look bad on them. So they let it go. They just asked him to leave. Then she just gives me a little information. She said that when she left, her daughter was 2. So she endured all that abuse for 2 years. Every day, being physically, mentally, verbally abused. Her daughter is now 4. And they haven't seen his dad since that day, which is great because I feel like you guys are so much better off without him. So Maya wanted to leave this off with a little note. Of course, she's sharing her story with everyone, but she wants people to take something away from it. She wants everyone to know that it will take a while to rebuild. It took her a while to rebuild herself. And she successfully provided her daughter. She said, if a single mom of 1 can do it, anyone can. And I completely agree with her. I think, Maya, you're a total badass. And I'm sorry for everything you had to go through, but I feel like you found yourself along the way. Maya, for writing in, your story was amazing. I loved it. It was a happy ending for me. Probably not for DPOS because he walked away with a broken nose and a broken jaw. That's all I got for you guys today. Any advice or kind words for Maya, please put them down in the comments. I'll see you guys next week. All right, bye.